True wisdom comes to each of us when we realize how little we understand about life, ourselves, and the world around us. Socrates. In a forgotten town in the desert, the dry wind swirled like a serpent, stirring at dust that danced across the face of an unconscious heiress. His body slumped against a stack of wooden fruit crates, his chest rising and falling in the rhythm with the wind. Above him, a weathered sign creaked, bearing the words, Moracle, the place to be. It swayed as if uncertain of its claim. A few curious passers-by glanced at Eris before entering the inn. A young street boy watched from a short distance, his eyes filled with mischief.
But I can be the woman, the lover you need to fill the vacuum that she left behind.
Jennifer. He sat up slowly, glancing around, noticing his now healed arm, free of the exoskeleton.
Hey, mister, you shouldn't be letting your guard down around here. You wake up with nothing.
I've got nothing to lose, kid.
I know. Already tried to fleece you while you were out. You're stone cold broke.
Eris shook his head, his eyes focusing on the Moracle sign. Moracle? Hey, kid. How did I get here?
Don't know. 1 minute you weren't there, and then you were.
I need to find Eda's inn.
Oh, nothing's for free here. It'll cost you that corporation jacket.
Fine. I don't want to wear this around here anyway. Eris tossed his jacket to the boy.
Sweet.
The boy scampered off. Boy! Eda's inn!
Open your eyes.
As he disappeared down the street, Eris turned, slowly noticing the faded letters on the establishment behind him. Eda's inn. Cheeky little bastard. Stretching his stiff back, Eris warily stepped into the bar. As he entered, the chatter abruptly stopped. Patrons turned to face him, their expressions a mix of curiosity and hostility. The bartender broke the silence.
Corporation scum has got no place here.
Murmurs grew louder as the crowd's tension thickened. Eris edged back towards the door, but it slammed shut behind him.
Let's make him disappear.
Just as Eris scrambled for an escape, a bounty hunter grabbed his shoulder, pulling him close.
Corporation spy, are ya?
Before Eris could respond, a metallic hand locked around the bounty hunter's wrist, twisting it with a sharp crunch.
He's no spy. He's with me.
Eris exhaled in relief. Reiko.
How many times have I pulled you out of the muck? And you still haven't bought me a drink.
The crowd settled back into their shady dealings. Reiko led Eris to a private booth.
What's going on?
You still want to join forces?
Maybe. But I'm not too keen on the corporation chasing us across every dust bowl and crater.
We can lay low for a while, take on some isolated jobs, stay off the radar.
Oh yeah, like walking into a bar with a corporation uniform is laying low.
That wasn't part of the plan, but we do need extra security. An old friend that can help. Without delay, the two boarded Reiko's ship and set off for Eris's contact in a remote alpine valley. During the long journey, Eris explained how he ended up at Eda's inn. Hours later, navigating by sight alone, they spotted a small hut precariously perched on a mountainside. They landed nearby and trekked along a narrow path, hugging the cliff face until the hut came into view.
Are you sure you know this guy?
It's been a while. Movement along the rocks caught their attention, and a detector blinked as they approached. Easy, Reiko.
This better be worth it.
Suddenly, two spider-like bots appeared, one from above and another blocking their path. Hey, we're friendly. Xavier, is this how you treat old friends? A silhouette appeared at the hut's entrance.
Big mistake, trying to raid this place.
It's me, Eris. Call off the spider dogs.
Eris hard. Let me guess, you're in trouble and you need my help. Same old story.
Xavier, called off the security bots.
It's not exactly how it works, but yeah, we do need your help.
They approached each other, and Eris gave Xavier a hug. Eris gestured to Reiko, carrying a large box.
Want your supplies?
Come in. I'll fix you some tea. Who's your friend?
Reiko.
Serious one, huh?
Yeah, the world did that to him.
Xavier led them inside, gesturing toward a small, cluttered room.
So, what brings you here?
Well, let's just say we need security, and you're the best retrofitter I know.
I'm the only retrofitter you know. Corporation Heat?
Yeah, I guess I'm one of you now.
What kind of security?
Eris looked out the window.
Something like your spider donks?
Not for sale. If trouble comes, that's all I've got.
He paused, thinking.
I might have something else. It'll take some work.
Xavier led them outside, pulling a tarp off an old bot.
It's a first-gen redback. It's a real honey badger. But a little outdated.
How much are we talking?
I've got a job for you. There's a supply outpost up north. Never finished. Pre-corporation. It's been abandoned for years.
What's there?
Not sure. Bots, machinery, tools. Could be valuable. We split the find.
Sounds like a lot of work.
A week's worth. Take my ship and gear walker. Let's see what you can find.
Deal.
The next morning, they set off for the outpost. As they travelled, Reiko grew impatient.
Are you sure this guy's memory is still sharp?
I hope so. We need that security bot.
Reiko pointed to the temperature gauge.
We're gonna freeze our nuts off.
I don't have any nuts.
What? So you are an automaton?
And this is why I work alone. Same questions every time.
You are unusual.
After a long pause,
I'm just a head. All part of a sadistic experiment. And I'm the lucky one. I escaped, but now I survive on the fringes.
A corporation experiment?
Reiko nodded.
I watched my entire family live and die in a lab. One day I'll make them pay for that.
I'm sorry. I couldn't imagine what that would have been like. So, what do you look like?
You don't want to know. The helmet never comes off. Remember that.
The ship's coordinates locator sounded.
That's it.
They rounded a sharp outcrop, revealing the decaying outpost. The once formidable structure now lay crumbling, barely clinging to the jagged rock face.
Wow, look at that. Just sitting there rotting away.
It's already given me the creeps.
We could be the first raiders here. Land on that flat. I think I should go. You hang back in case I need help.
The landing gear sank into the thick snow as the ship touched down. The gas struts of the door ramp hissed as it lowered. A rush of cold air flooded the small cargo hold, biting through their cold weather gear. Eris and Reiko stepped onto the snow-covered flat near the ship. The desolation of the scene enveloped them as they stood in silence, taking in the eerie, frozen landscape.
Listen to that.
I can't hear anything. Except the wind.
Eris looked slowly around him, scanning the expanse of the cold and snow.
That's the point. Just the wind.
This is not relaxing. Let's just get whatever's in there and get out.
With a sigh, Eris unloaded the gear walker and descended into the steep valley, beginning his ascent toward the outpost. His footsteps crunched in the thick snow as the biting wind whipped his face.
Check.
The reception cracked and popped, Reiko's voice barely discernible through the interference.
Breaking up. Just watch for landslides and keep your beacon on.
The static garbled response echoed in Eris's ear as he trudged through the snow. The weight of the task becoming more apparent with each step. The ominous structure loomed above him, veiled in fog, its dark silhouette barely visible through the swirling snowflakes. As Eris continued his ascent, the gearwalker struggled, its mechanical legs slipping and faltering on uneven, icy terrain. It was a constant battle to maintain balance, each misstep threatening to send it tumbling back down the mountainside. Eris crouched for a breather, scanning the route ahead.
There must be another way. I know this is tough, but take your time. I don't have to come down and get you if you fall.
As they pressed on, disaster struck. The gearwalker misplaced its footing, its weight shifting uncontrollably. Eris could only watch as it toppled backwards, tumbling down the steep slope, crashing through the snow and ice until it vanished into the deep valley below. Small chunks of ice began sliding past him, quickly giving way to a roaring white mass. An avalanche.
Great.
The words caught in his throat as the avalanche surged down, engulfing everything in its path. Eris lunged for an outcrop, pressing himself against the frozen rock as the destructive wave thundered past, sweeping away snow, debris, and anything in its wake. Reiko watched from the safety of the landing zone.
Eris, copy. I knew this was a bad idea.
The avalanche settled at the bottom of the mountain, leaving a vast, desolate swath of snow in its wake. Reiko stood by the comms.
Eris! Eris! Give me a sign.
After several tense moments, a small light began to glow beneath the snow. Eris's hand broke through the surface, followed by a gasp for air as he clawed his way out of the icy tomb. He waved his beacon toward Reiko, who waved his own light back in acknowledgement. Eris stood shakily, catching his breath, and scanned the valley below. Xavier's gearwalker was nowhere to be seen, buried beneath tons of snow and ice.
That's gonna cost us.
Carefully, he continued his ascent, eventually discovering a small path that led him to the first floor of the outpost. He reached a heavy blast door, its hinges frozen in place. With a grunt, he pushed it open, the door creaking ominously as it revealed the darkness within. He flickered on his headlights and raised his weapon, sweeping the room for any signs of danger. It was a large, empty space, an emergency exit, judging by the lack of equipment. Scattered rubbish and remnants of the past littered the floor. An open elevator shaft yawned in the corner, while a set of concrete stairs spiraled upwards. Eris took a breath and began climbing. His footsteps echoed eerily in the silence, the only sound in the hollow structure. As he climbed higher, the stairs twisted into a narrow spiral, wrapping around the heart of the outpost. His heart raced with adrenaline and the distant hope of finding something valuable. Suddenly, something caught his eye on the stairs ahead. He paused, squinting through the darkness. As he approached, the object took shape. The decayed corpse of a worker slumped face down on the steps. Burn marks marred its back, and several bullet holes pierced its clothing.
I thought this place was abandoned. Looks like he was running for his life.
As Eris ascended, he passed several more bodies, all in similar states. Burned, shot, discarded. The haunting sight sent a chill down his spine. Finally, the stairs ended, leading him to the outpost's main room. The doors had been blown in, debris scattered across the floor. Several more bodies lay strewn about, their fates long sealed. Eris lowered his weapon, the weight of the scene sinking in.
What the hell happened up here?
Suddenly, Eris was hit from the shadows, the force of the blow sending him crashing backward into a pile of debris. Dust clouded the air as he scrambled to regain his bearings.
The hell?
His weapon skidded across the room, spinning out of reach. Eris's eyes darted through the dimly lit room, his breathing heavy, searching for whatever had struck him. He noticed movement, a dark figure shifting in the shadows, low and menacing. Slowly, Eris stood, arms outstretched, trying to appear non-threatening.
I'm not here to hurt you.
A metallic whir echoed from the shadows as the figure moved. Suddenly a machine lunged out of the darkness, charging straight at him. Its servos growled with age, gears grinding. Eris flinched.
Whoa. It's okay. I don't have a weapon.
The machine skidded to a stop mere inches from Eris. Both froze, locked in a tense standoff. Eris cautiously raised his headlight. The narrow beam illuminated the figure before him. His eyes widened as the machine details came into focus. Old, rusted, its frame worn from years of use and neglect.
A labor bot. On your own all this time. You look like an older model.
The machine's optics glowed faintly as it scanned Eris, but it made no further move. Slowly, it retreated back into the cover of the shadows, its joints creaking with effort. Eris's gaze followed its path, noticing something lying on the ground beside it, half hidden by debris.
What is that?
Eris took a cautious step forward, his hand still up showing he meant no harm. The labor bot stomped the ground with its left foot, the noise a warning, before faking another charge toward him.
I'm not going any closer.
He crouched down, lowering himself to seem less threatening.
Look, I'm not sure how much juice you've got left in those power cells, but you either trust me, or it's the end of the road.
The labor bot hesitated, then slowly crouched as well. With a faint hiss of compressed air, a hatch in the bot's back popped open. Eris approached carefully, squinting to read the faint inscription inside.
R6 docking charge bay.
He looked at the object lying next to the bot, half buried in the rubble.
So you're an R6. Wow. A labor bot with a factory-fitted combat droid. Stories you could tell.
Eris carefully placed R6 into the labor bot's docking bay, securing it with a click. As he did, he noticed the word Sasquatch scratched into the side of the bot's outer panel.
Sasquatch, huh? An R6. Welcome to the family. Now let's get you to the ship.
With Sasquatch carrying R6, Eris led the way back down the stairs. Together they navigated the treacherous descent, carefully picking their way along the steep, snow-covered cliff, step by step. Eris was impressed with the way Sasquatch managed the difficult terrain.
Not bad for a vintage mech.
As the trio approached the ship, Reiko's voice cut through the cold air.
We've been gone for hours. And who's this?
Reiko, meet Sasquatch. And R6 in the back. Our new team.
Reiko's skepticism evident.
Oh, really? What are we going to do with a 50-year-old labor bot?
Trust me, they've got more go than you think.
What about Xavier? We can't go back with nothing. And where's his gear walker?
I've got a plan. It's going to test those pilot skills of yours.
They all boarded the ship, engines rumbling to life as they lifted off and slowly descended toward the avalanche zone.
Turn on the thermals.
The thermal detection screen flickered and lit up with a glowing display. Reiko maneuvered the ship with precision, hovering just above the snow, his eyes scanning for any sign of more avalanches as the ship's engines warmed up the snow beneath them. The force of the hot air soon revealed two mechanical legs kicking back and forth in the snow.
There he is. Use the tow rope and we'll pull him in.
They slowly hoisted the gear walker from its icy grave, lifting it into the cargo hold.
What now?
Let's fill up that hauler.
Reiko guided the ship upward, aligning it with the dock opening.
What's the integrity of the structure like?
It's solid, I think.
Right.
As the ship hovered near the dock, Eris jumped out onto the landing pad.
Alright, bring the hauler around, slowly.
Reiko maneuvered the ship with caution, backing the hauler against the dock. Eris and Sasquatch wasted no time, quickly loading anything of value, tools, light machinery, and bits of tech. They used the hauler's tow rope to reel in several destroyed labor bots and other salvaged pieces.
I think we're good.
Alright, I'll swing it around.
The ship slowly turned, and as it lined up, Eris and Sasquatch leapt back into the opened hatch. Eris made his way into the cockpit.
Everyone should be happy now. Let's head back.
After the long trip, they touched down at Xavier's landing pad. Xavier came out to greet them.
Any luck?
We got some good finds. Eris opened up the hauler, revealing the salvaged tools, tech, and scrap.
What's all the damage? Did you have to fight your way in?
No, this is how we found it. It wasn't abandoned.
More like destroyed.
The corporation has its insidious hands all over it. I did try to tell you this when you first started working for them. They are a blight on humanity.
You're preaching to the converted. We'll get this unloaded and meet you inside. Once the cargo hauler was empty, Eris and Reiko entered Xavier's warm hut, giving Eris a chance to sink into an old armchair, the exhaustion from the journey setting in.
Eris, you know I still have my way of connecting to the outside world. There's been some chatter about you. Word is, you're in trouble with rogue elements of the corporation.
Ticking around like that will get us all in trouble.
It's best you let me know of such things up front, in future.
Xavier gestured sharply with his hand, and the side door of his hut swung open. Eris instinctively reached for his sidearm as a redback combat bot burst into the room.
Say hello to your guardian angel.
Eris exhaled with relief, lowering his weapon.
I was going to give you the standard model, but after hearing about your corporation run-in, I decided to upgrade it. Reinforced plating, fiercely loyal, armor-piercing rounds. It's still a legacy model, but it'll give any modern bot a run for its money.
I think we have our team.
I think we do.
Now, I don't want to be rude, but it's best you Nomads get as far away from me as possible. I don't need any more aid, especially with talk of war. Some of the M-World territories are done bending the knee. It's about to get ugly out there.
Soon enough, the newly formed Nomads, Eris, Reiko, R6, Sasquatch, and their new Redback Guardian were on their way, venturing deeper into the wilds of the N-World, ready to face whatever lay ahead. Where to now?
Let's start with some relic hunting. I know the perfect spot.
They settled back aboard Reiko's ship, the Thunderbox, preparing for their next move. At that moment, a warning light began to flash.
We've got a tail.
This far out? The radio crackled.
This is the Corporation Omar Region's counter-smuggling unit requesting permission to board and check for contraband. Please descend now and locate a safe landing position. Over.
Eris entered the cockpit and looked at the screen showing a small ship approaching. They're not getting in here,
Descending now. Over.
Reiko replied to the pilot. Are you crazy?
Strap in.
If you've made it this far, you've reached the final episode of the Nomads Season 1. I truly hope you've enjoyed the 6-episode series plus the pilot. My name is Damien Osborne, and I'm the creator, producer, and the one responsible for all the character voices, sound score, animated artwork, and editing for the Nomads. The series has been 9 months of intense hard work and dedication, and I'm glad you stuck with me to the end. I sincerely hope we can enjoy new adventures together in the future. Thanks again for watching.